News First, Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.
Hello, and this is Newsline. Unusually, we're not live, but we are on a recording mode, and we do that to honor our guest today, who has recently been named as the Woman Entrepreneur of the Year 2017, and that's the chairperson of the Aban's group of companies, Mrs. Aban Pestonjee. Hello, madam, and many congratulations on your award.
Thank you very much.
And I want to ask you straight away, Mrs. Pestonjee, what does this mean to you? What does this award mean to you?
Well, I'm proud that it was awarded to me, and I mean, it makes me feel good,
yeah,
and that I've been awarded this.
Awards actually that you had.
Yes, that's why I was saying I have had a number of awards.
Indeed.
And I feel that the WCIC has honored me with this award too, and I would like to thank them for that. But also I've had a number of other awards. The most prestigious one was the Entrepreneur of the World, which I received in Thailand from the princess.
And in times like this, we would like, I think, if we went down memory lane and looked to see the story behind the colossus that is your group so far. How did it all start?
Well, it started when there was a closed economy in Sri Lanka, and I had 3 small children to look after, and at that stage nobody had you know, the younger generation nowadays, they don't realize what it was like then. There were no TVs, no electrical appliances to help the housewife, so the housewife had to do everything at home, including looking after the children, running the children to school, bringing them back, to coping with the housework, do the balancing act so that everything will be in time for the children, time for the husband. So it was difficult in those days for the housewives. And if you had to, say you had to wash something, you didn't have the washing machine, you had to do everything by hand, and you know how long that takes. If you had to polish, you used to just have a brush that you had to swish up and down. No polishers, no electrical polishers. Whereas in the developed world on the other side, there was everything to help the housewife to finish her work faster and have more time for leisure.
So it was a rather manual life then?
Yes, very much so. Very much so, yes.
And so you set about. So how did you? How were you able to enter at least a little bit of automation? How did you manage in this closed economy?
Well, what happened was I started thinking, yes, there is something I could do in a small way to help some of the housewives here. So what I used to do is there were these auctions in the American auction, the British auctions.
These are the sort of diplomatic
auctions, yes, which they used to put out all the electrical goods out for sale every year, and they were practically like new. So what I did was I used to go over there, get them tested. I had a person with me technically who used to look into everything, and then I used to bid for the washing. Say I bought about 20 washing machines. I used to keep back 2 for guarantee. That is because I didn't want to let down my customers who bought items from us.
So for spares?
For spares, yes.
I see. And was that quite novel at the time?
Yes, very novel, because there were others also competing with me, and they were mostly men, and so they used to also come and bid for it. For
In which
the
year
items.
was this?
This was about 1975s,
Right, okay.
about then.
This was during that time, that sort of period,
Yeah.
the woman's place was considered to be at home.
Yes,
And
very much
you did
so.
something out of the box.
Yes, very much so. And the husbands felt that working in the kitchen was below their dignity, just to
Right.
say that, right?
Yeah.
It's the housewife who had to do everything, look after the children, look after the house, look after everything. So it was difficult for the wives at that time.
What did your husband do? Did he know where the kitchen was?
Well, he did, because when I was cooking, he was there.
Okay, so he knew where it was, but he
Yes.
didn't probably, did he not know much that you did there?
No, not
No.
much. Not much, because he used to do he had his own business.
Yeah.
He was doing paper business, so he was mostly out.
And Mrs. Pestonjee, what did he say to you when he discovered that his wife was embarking on some business activity?
Well, not very happy.
Okay.
And he said that I was adding to his income tax problems.
Oh, I see.
Right.
Years later, that might it so almost sounds funny now,
Yes, that's right.
because you probably have a whole floor of accountants and so on
Yes,
dealing
that's
with your income tax affairs.
Yes, yes. that's right.
Is the Aban's Group a big contributor to the income
Yes,
tax
very
files?
much so, very much so.
And does that make you proud?
Yes, of course, because it helps the country.
How aware are you of the need for people like yourself, entrepreneurs like you,
Well, we
to
should
have pride in the fact that your companies and people that you employ
Yes.
are contributing so much to the national coffers?
I'm aware of that because I feel that, the contribution I give, because we have so many people working for us.
Yeah.
And and I would feel that, we should see that they are all the families have something to look forward to, and not be in want in case something happens to the company. So I'm very aware of that, and not only me, my family too.
Right, who are actively involved in the running of the business.
Yes.
Now, Mrs. Pestonjee, how many people does your group employ then?
Well, we have about 30,000 indirectly,
Yeah.
but directly about 15,000.
At the end of every month, when you know that the salary checks are being sent, disbursed,
Yes.
how aware are you of this enormous responsibility that you have?
Well, it's not only at the end of the month that I think of that.
Right.
I think of it every day, that we owe the people who are working with us a good life, and that's why we work for that. The whole family is there for that.
Do you have a big churn rate in terms of staff numbers?
Not really, because most of our staff have been with us for years and they have been loyal to us. So we do have a churn. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't say that we don't, but compared to what others have, our churning is not that much.
Right. So and loyalty is quite high.
Yes, that's right.
And I wanted to take you. How did you? So you had these humble beginnings where you're buying sort of second-hand equipment and
Yeah.
refurbishing it and allocating machines for spare part purposes and for service.
Yeah.
And so you were able to give your customers a guarantee, a warranty.
Yes.
But how did it explode into this colossus, if you like, with over about 500 branches and so
Well,
on?
that happened when the open economy came in,
Right,
and then the goods started coming in,
right,
imported goods, and there was a demand for that because Sri Lanka was starved for goods. And but I had very limited resources, very little capital to work with. So I used to go to the banks, and then we used to open up LCs, but I made sure that we paid the banks. That was my chief concern.
So how did you fund? That was going to be my other question. How did you fund your business? Before, at the beginning, and then
at the beginning I borrowed from everybody.
Right.
Borrowed from my uncles, and people who could trust me, and I used to pay them back.
I see.
Because banking was not very, there was nothing like the banks we have now, where they give entrepreneurs loans to start with. So it was all on our own, borrowing from people.
So there was nothing called SMEs and
no, nothing
this,
like
that,
that.
the other.
Nothing like that.
Right. So you borrowed from the banks and borrowed from friends and borrowed from
my husband also.
Oh, from your husband?
Yes.
Did you pay him back?
Yes, of course.
Did he?
My father also.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Right. So in terms of finance, it's fair to say that you didn't know much about finance, but you borrowed and you made sure you paid it back as soon as you can.
Yes, that's right.
But then how did it sort of expand into this whole thing?
As I said,
how did you attract the agencies?
Well, when it was liberalized,
yeah,
and the only advantage I had was knowing what the customer wanted, what the brands the customers were interested in, and the brands that the customers were interested in at that time were the British brands, the Hoover, the Electrolux, Belling, which was held by the big companies like Walker's, Walker and Craig, Brown's. And they had the good agencies, the Hoover, Electrolux. So I wrote to them abroad. They were all British brands, and I wrote to UK. But most of them didn't respond very favorably because I was a small company, and moreover they had their agents which they had signed agreements with, I suppose, so they were not very happy. But I'm a very persistent person, so I kept on writing to them. And the first person who came down was Electrolux, and he saw that the agents were not doing much. And I had my service center in my garage at home, where I used to service all the appliances. So he saw that I was not only interested in selling my goods, I was also interested in giving a service to my customers. So that was my first agency. And after that, all the agencies I wanted, the British agencies, followed. That was the Hoover, the Belling, the Hasselhoffs, all the English agencies.
And is that first agency still with you?
Yes, yes, still.
That must give you a lot of satisfaction.
Yes, do. I've got Hoover also.
On that note, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Don't go away. After all, this is Newsline.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.
And welcome back to Newsline, where we are in conversation with the Woman Entrepreneur of the Year 2017, Mrs. Aban Pestonjee of the Aban's Group. Mrs. Pestonjee, can you tell me, your group is obviously grown and so on. What is the input that your children have brought to the business?
Well, they brought in very new ideas, like I told you when I started, and when the imports started, they were all abroad studying. They got back, and they started expanding the business, and then they started. Business was very much at that time only in Colombo. And maybe a little away from Colombo. But when they started branching out all over Sri Lanka.
And whose idea was it to go the high purchase or the extended payment terms?
Well, mostly my children.
Right.
I was not very happy about it.
Right.
But I went along because I thought they might know better than me now. So
After all, they acquired some new knowledge.
That's right.
Right. And the concept of this mall that you have, you've diversified into that now?
Well, the mall was specially for Sri Lankans.
Right.
Because if you go abroad, you get malls where people meet, the family meet, they go shopping, they go and enjoy themselves, taking the children around. We have nothing like that for the family right round in Sri Lanka. So I wanted very much for the Sri Lankans to have a place where they can go, where the teenagers can go and meet with their friends in a healthy way, not in discos and. So I was very much into that, and I wanted the Sri Lankans to get something that would give their families something to get, for the families to get together and have a good time together. So that was my concept. That's why I wanted the mall.
So you had your family with you in this whole exercise of expansion.
Very much so.
And how much of a family are you? The closeness.
Well, we are quite close.
Yeah.
We are there with each other in good times and bad times.
Do you disagree? Do they disagree with you and say, "Mom, look what you mean"?
Of course, many times.
Who overrules them?
Well, why don't you ask them?
We'll have to do that. We'll have to ask the three children.
Well, I don't overrule them, but sometimes when I feel I'm right, I don't give in.
Right.
And I keep to what I think is right.
Right. So you enter a holding pattern until they see their errors and then they come around?
If I feel they're right, maybe sometimes at the beginning I might oppose it.
Right.
But then I think about it, and I think if it's right, then I give in. But if I think it's not right, then I don't give in.
And Mrs. Pestonjee, I want to ask you this question. During this progression from garage to 500 plus stores and so on, in between we had something called the war.
Yes.
What did that teach you?
Well, it taught us how to do business in difficult times and in good times. So it helped us a lot. It teaches us a lot day to day, how to deal with matters. So it gives you a good insight on what life is. You know, when a bomb went off, everyone spoke about it for about 2 or 3 days, and then everything used to die down because people got used to that way of life. And thank God we don't have it anymore. And I think Sri Lanka should take that opportunity and go from strength to strength and become, my vision is that it becomes a developed world like the rest of the world.
You said that you have indirectly employ about 30,000 people.
Yes.
And 15,000 directly.
Yes.
Do most of these people know you?
I don't think all of them know me.
No.
Because we are in all parts of the world, all parts of Sri Lanka.
Indeed.
Not all of them, yes.
Do you get a chance, do you get an opportunity to travel around the branches now?
Not so much now. Earlier I used to. I used to go around and see, but still sometimes I may drop in and see how one of the showrooms are doing.
Do you go unannounced?
Sorry? Yes.
Do you do that unannounced?
Yes.
So just pick and say, you tell your driver, stop here.
Yes. And I just walk in and see how they're doing.
Good. I don't know if it's good for them, but it must be good for you. If you were to say something to the ladies of Sri Lanka, the female youth of this country, what would you say to them? Can they emulate you?
If I didn't pursue and get the agencies, we wouldn't have been where we are today. So that is there. And if the ladies want to really go into business, something that they're interested in, not because somebody else is making some money out of it. It should be what they're interested in. It can be anything, landscaping, housekeeping, whatever it is, something that they're interested in.
And then they need to
work towards that.
And HHP.
Yes, that's right.
Honesty,
HHP.
hard work and perseverance.
Yes, that's right.
And would you agree with Mr. Churchill? And so when he said, never, ever give up.
Yes, 100%.
Just ask you one more question. What do you view the future for this land of paradise, for Sri Lanka?
Politicians should give up politics and work for the country, see that it's developed, and then go for their politics. That's what I would think of, and I would think that's the future for the country.
Aban Pestonjee, thank you very much for being on Newsline. And once again, many congratulations on your Woman Entrepreneur of the Year. And we look forward to hearing more from the success of yourself and your group. Thank you very much.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.